let's see what happens, guys. I know ain't nobody gonna show up, but I got some notes here. But I'll talk about something. I got plenty of notes. So I'll talk about something. Let's just see who wants to show up and talk. At least with me, I doubt anybody gets notified or anything like that. I'm not even worried about it. Not even for a second. Let's do this so you guys don't have to see the smoke. I'll let that fan blow the air around. There's a lot of people who always tell me they want to talk to me. Well, here I am. Here I am. Going into 2 minutes, nobody showing up. So I'm gonna start with this right here, folks, and I think this is a good thing to start with. I had a dog, Black Lab Sharpei mix. Smartest dog I ever had. Smartest dog I ever had. When we first got him, we lived in a trailer park in Queen Creek, Arizona, right at the base of Santan Mountains. Um, I had built actually, I had a friend that I did four-wheeling with, off-roading and stuff with, that he was a fence installer. He also uninstalled fences. So he had rolls of fence on his property. This was out in the country, folks. And he put up and took down fences. That's what he did for a living. And he had an old what was it? It's almost like a Bronco, but it was a Scout. He had an old Scout that he four wheeled around in. And but like I said, he was a fence installer and an uninstaller. And I talked to him, said, "Hey man, I want to put a fence around my yard because I want to get a dog." He said, "I can do that." I said, "Cool, let's talk about the price." We talked about a price. He installed the fence. I got the dog. This dog, for the first probably year and a half, 2 years of his life, was in this yard that I had. I moved from that location. And before I moved, I paid the same guy that sold me the fence to come in, take the fence down, take it with him. Now, because I was giving him all the everything but the posts, he didn't charge me much to come in and remove all the fencing and everything. My dog, and I named him how you spell the word dog. D-O-G. That was his name. D-O-G is what we called him. D-O-G. After we took that fence down, that dog, the gates were still up. The gates were still up, and on one side of our house, we could let him out the back door. He was inside the gate and inside the fencing, and there was another gate around our front door. Now, the gates were all that was left up, and the posts. The fencing was all gone. And that dog run straight out to that fence line, even though that fence line wasn't there no longer. He run right straight up to it, and he would sit out there, and he would bark, do all of his normal stuff. The fence was gone. I had at this time, let me do this. See that Bronco right there? Well, you could take the back of that Bronco off like on a Jeep. I would take, after we moved out of there and we moved to a different location, the place we moved to had an in-ground pool with a diving board and everything, folks. A friend of mine owned the property. I could put that dog in my Bronco, take the top off the back, and if I told him to stay in that Bronco, he did not get out of that Bronco till I came back and told him to get out of it. Doesn't matter if I took the back off, had the whole top off of it. There wasn't nothing keeping him in it other than because I told him to stay in it. And I could go into a store, and if anybody got around that Bronco, if it looked like they was coming to reach in or anything, boom, he was right on them. As long as they were just walking by or anything, he didn't bother. I ain't playing with you. And that is what I'm telling you, folks, that as America has become. Just like that dog. I trained that dog to follow my commands. When I let him off a leash, I didn't even need a leash, folks. That dog would come up. He would see me put my shoes on in my house. He'd go over and he would even grab my shoes. If they were in the other room and he knew I was getting ready to leave, putting socks, got out cleaning myself up, shower or whatever, and I come out and I'm getting ready, he'd go get my shoes for me, bring them over to me. He wanted to go wherever I was going. He wanted to be right there with me. I took him out, or he'd go even get his leash, folks. This dog would go get his leash when he knew I was leaving. He would go get his leash, pick it up, and have it in his mouth. Because he knew he had to have that leash with him in order to go outside. He'd have that leash in his mouth. I'd walk out, I'd open up the door, I'd walk out, he'd walk out behind me, walk over, and I'd open up my Bronco door. And he'd jump up in the passenger seat with this leash in his mouth, never being attached to him. He wouldn't run off from me. And it came from a point that we were down in Tennessee, and he was wanting to chase the birds, the ducks, and stuff. So I took him over to a lake, it was Cove Lake near in Jacksboro, Tennessee, I think it was, or Caryville, Cove Lake. I took him over, me and my wife and my kids. And I had him on a leash when I first brought him out there. And I took him off a leash. And he took off running now towards the pond, chasing ducks and stuff, birds that were down there. He just took off running, wasn't looking back, nothing. I told my kids and my wife to stay back. And because he always paid attention to me. I walked over and hid behind a tree. By the time the dog got done chasing all the ducks and the geese and all the birds around the pond or the lake, Cove Lake, he turned around. He couldn't find me. He panicked. Panicked. Folks, I never even knew a dog could show panic on their face. He panicked. And that dog ran up around every tree between me and where he looked back and couldn't see me. He started hitting every tree, running around every tree, coming up through there. He was panicking because he couldn't see me. That's what happens to Christians who know about the Father, who know about Jesus, and they still do things living for this world, and they know it's wrong. And they look back, and they don't see the Father, they don't see Jesus anymore, and they start panicking. I start panicking. I've done it to my own self many times, folks. I'm serious. And I do the same thing. But that dog, it didn't matter after. Once he found me and the look on his face, I could let him go anywhere and he would follow every command I told him. And that's what happens when you become reborn. And you have to be reborn, folks. You have to be reborn. Being born into this world is not going to get you nothing but this world. You have to become reborn. Born from being born from your mother and being born back into the Father and the Spirit. That's a fact. You're not going to leave this world in a good way if that's not what you're seeking. I'm going to change the subject here a little bit. I want to tell you guys, if you don't think USA Inc., which is your new America, if you don't think USA Inc. doesn't control the government of Canada and Mexico, you're a fool. You're a fool. Because the same people that control America are the ones controlling those two countries as well. And it certainly has nothing to do with God or Jesus, either one. It doesn't even have anything to do with your Constitution, your Bill of Rights, the Federalist Papers, any of that. Because most of these people can't even read cursive writing today, who are deciding what's happening in this world. AOC, I guarantee you She probably can't even read cursive writing. Who do you think's bringing the drugs into this country, folks? Who do you think's bringing? It's all coming through the borders, folks. And who's got them wide open for anything to come here? Anybody, anything. How's that working out? Economy is, yeah, everything is destroyed. And it's still being destroyed. Let's see here. It seems like to me that the Democrats want to push we the people into defending ourselves with our Second Amendment right. I mean, that's what it looks like to me. Defunding the police, letting anybody that commits a crime go without even bonding out. It doesn't matter what the crime is, folks. Come on. What's left? What's left? Who's going to defend you? Ain't enough cops. They're not following the Constitution. If you defend yourself, what are you doing? If you live and the government locks you up for defending yourself, because they're not locking up the criminals. So they got to lock somebody up. Somebody's got to be at fault. Who's it going to be? The ones defending themselves? Yes. Because everyone in this country is scared to death of anybody with authority, the right to arrest. Well, that scares me as well. I'm no different. Because there are no laws of the land anymore. There is no Constitution. There's only majority rule. They're changing your definitions of your words. Even men can have babies. You guys, I just don't know where this is all coming from other than Satan. I'm sorry. If it isn't Satan, who is it? It isn't God. Your schools and what they're teaching. Who's learning anything that's going to go out here and make society better? They're teaching in your schools to divide everybody up. Divide everybody up by skin color, folks. Skin color. Well, what's next? Eye color? Hair color? What's next? Skin color, folks. I don't even understand this. You guys call it different races. What is a different race? We are humans. There's one race. The color doesn't matter. And fish, if the color's different, are they a different race or species of fish? No, they're still a fish. And birds, if birds are different colors, is it still not a bird? Is it not a bird because it's a different color. Are the wings still not hollowed out so to give it flight? Does it still not have wings? Feathers to help give it flight, keep it warm? Is it still, because it's blue and not red, is it not a bird? What's wrong with you people? The color of my skin and the color of your skin does not matter. If you are a man and I am a man, we are the same. End of story. There ain't nothing anybody can prove any different. And when our bones, just like all the people from our past, when our bones are laying in the ground and somebody digs them up later, the one thing and the only thing they'll be able to tell you about those bones that have nothing to do with the location, because they'll try to stick a location, proves what kind of person or race was living there. You're wrong. There's only one thing they can prove out of that skeleton, whether it's a man or a woman. The next thing they might be able to prove is the age. Other than that, folks, we are all the same race. No matter what you want to, no matter how many of your grandparents, your great grandparents, your parents, no matter how many of them lied to you, there's one race, the human race. And if we're all, half of us is trying to kill the other half, what do you have? A bunch of animals. Heathens. Evil. And no good can come out of humans unless God is involved. I don't care what color you are. I don't care how long you've been on the earth. If God and his son isn't a relationship that you have, you are not a good person. I assure you. Same with me. I am no different than any of you. Any of you. I am no different. My brain works the same way. My heart is the same. My soul's the same. Everything about me is the same. But I have 61 years. Lived in 11 states, over 50 cities, and I've walked and talked with all walks of life. And I haven't found a difference in any of us. I grew up with white people. No black people around. Greenwood, Indiana, when I grew up in the 60s and 70s, had no black people. And I had more harm, more things done to me by white people in that first 20 years of my life than any black or brown or any other color of person. That's a fact. And I've lived with all colors, walked, ages, everything. Good, bad, I've lived around, walked with them, fought with them, and prayed with them. Most of you. I've been married to my same wife longer than you've been alive. Don't make me no better. Don't make me any different than you. These were choices I made, and they worked for me. I wouldn't trade my life, no matter what. I wouldn't trade it for anybody's. Not Donald Trump's and all his money, or anybody else. My two stepchildren, I couldn't have asked for better kids. Prayed and got them if I would have had them myself. Folks, all I want you to know, you need to seek Jesus. All of you. This stuff, America is not the republic. They haven't been going by the Constitution for a long time. Everything that's happening in this country today should prove that to you. I don't know why it doesn't, other than because you've been lied to and lied to and lied to about everybody, even the people who told you they loved you. Because they were lied to, they lied to you as well. Only thing that will save any of us is Jesus. That's a fact. Anybody want to prove me wrong on that? Have at it. It's up to you. It's up to you guys. You don't have to choose God, the Father. You don't have to follow his Son. You don't have to repent for your sins. You don't have to do none of that. Just keep going down that same path you've been on. How's it working out for you so far? Never worked for me. Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And that's all this old man has left to tell you guys. I can tell you all about my life. But it all leads to that one thing: the way, the truth, and the life. And I hope somebody listens. Because a lot of people say, oh, nobody even listens to that old man anymore. And they laugh. Well, I know that's a lie. So, guys, till next time, just seek him. Just seek him and see how much your life can change. He changed mine. He can change yours. I assure you. Love you guys. Till the next time.